Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts families. So, guys, we're going to start over here, and this is a Chinese space station. Tiangong 2 is about to fall from space. And so, this immediately got me thinking, and then I did a little research and saw a lot of people were thinking the same thing regarding the Hopi prophecy. So, a space station is about to fall from the sky. Chinese station Tiangong 2 is scheduled to drop out of orbit on the 19th and fall into the Pacific Ocean between New Zealand and Chile. So this literally translates to Heavenly Palace. It was launched in September 2016 and was never intended to be a permanent fixture in orbit. Instead, its purpose was to test technologies for China's larger planned space station, whose main module is scheduled to launch in 2020. That space station is planned to be about one-fifth the size of the International Space Station. Tiangong 2 is far smaller yet. And so this is coming down, and it did get me thinking about the Hopi prophecy. And so we've talked about Hopi prophecy before, and just to give you some highlights, the Hopi are a Native American tribe who live on the Hopi and Indian Reservation in northeastern Arizona. They believe that humans on Mother Earth pass through great epochal time cycles called worlds. We are now at the very end of our trail. Many people no longer recognize the true path of the Great Spirit. They have, in fact, no respect for the Great Spirit or for our precious Mother Earth, who gives us all life. And I think we could understand that when we look at all the pollution and destruction that goes on with the Earth, and just all the toxic chemicals, all the things we see in the sky, it just goes on and on. So we are instructed in our ancient prophecy that this would occur. This is Dan Evahima. He's a Hopi elder. The Hopi prophecy indicates that 3 worlds have now passed. We're in the 4th world, where we are about to enter the 5th world, based on the timing disclosed by 9 signs. The arrival of white-skinned men who take the land that is not theirs and strike their enemies with thunder, and you could take that as guns. The coming of the spinning wheels filled with voices, covered wagons. A strange beast like a buffalo with long horns and large numbers, herds of cattle. The land is crossed by snakes of iron, railroad tracks. The land is crossed by giant spiders' webs, telegraph, telephone, power lines. And now we have the internet too. The land is crossed by with rivers of stone, concrete and asphalt roads. The sea turns black, killing many things, oil spills. Many young people will wear their hair long like our people and visit tribal lands to learn our ways and wisdom, the hippies. And a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth, appearing as a blue star, crashes into Mother Earth, signifying the end times. A comet, a planet, or a space station. So it's interesting, and of course we have the blue kachina, red kachina as well. And there's a lot more, and when you start looking at a lot of the other indigenous people's legends, it's really pretty fascinating what we see. So in case you were wondering what this likely was, there was a mysterious explosion in Texas, and people from China Grove to Lavernia all reported hearing a large bang. And so as we've gotten on down the line and they've looked into this, basically they logically conclude it probably was a meteor. And we've been talking about meteors and different things in the sky, and we get so many close call asteroids all the time. I think we're up to 30 or 31 now for the year that have passed within a lunar distance. So just another one out there showing us that we're in a busy area. We have a shallow 5.3 earthquake and aftershocks hitting the capital near Athens, Greece. This definitely panicked a lot of the people in the area. The depth was 8 miles, and they had given it a preliminary magnitude of 5.1, the USGS 5.3, and it has been subsequently, they've had some aftershocks of 2.5, 2.6, 3.6, and 4.2 as well. So hopefully this was not a precursor, and hopefully this was the big event. And we see massive floods hitting northwest Turkey, leaving 7 people missing. And this is just one more flood, of which we have seen floods, you name it, we have seen it. Pretty much all continents have experienced this besides Antarctica, and there's video here for you guys to see the extreme flooding going on in Turkey. we have an eruption at Etna's new southeast crater. And remember, Casey talked about be very, very aware of when you see Etna and Pele going at the same time. And so far, we haven't had anything new out of Pele, but we'll keep our eyes open there. And, there's definitely an uptick going on right now. There's video here for you to see. And of course, we had a lot of big quakes. Violent eruption at Ubinas volcano in Peru, ejects ash 40,000 feet in the air. So what we're seeing with the eruptions are that they seem to be a little bit more violent. They seem to be sending material up higher into the atmosphere, which is going to definitely help cool things off long term. And we have a massive whale killing in Iceland. Dozens of dead pilot whales were discovered on a beach. And we've seen a lot of these type of things happening all over the globe, unfortunately. And these bodies stretch out over a long area. It's just another sad event there. And then checking that USGS out. So right now we see 892 quakes being listed. We see a lot of activity still up in Alaska and of course along the west coast. Here over on the side we can see that Greek 5.3. And as we zoom in a little bit, you see an unusual one. This is an unusual spot, 2.2 over here. Basically Spring Ridge, Pennsylvania. So this is close to Philly. That's an interesting spot. And right above it, up here at 2.2, the same size in Lake Pleasant, New York. Upstate New York, very pretty area. So interesting quakes right there. We see some fracking quakes in Oklahoma. And when we go in, we see that in basically the California area where we've been following, 711 of 892 total quakes. So it's still ongoing. It has decreased most definitely from when we were seeing a couple thousand. But we still have sinkholes everywhere. And here you see a giant sinkhole opens up along Route 30 in Hempfield Township. This is in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has a ton of sinkholes. People automatically think Florida, but PA has a lot of sinkholes too. And obviously with all the fracking going on, that just creates more of an issue. Here we see the subway stops floods after a downpour knocks out a wall in Queens, and people had said they'd never seen anything like this before. As this guy was knocked straight down, you see the wall blown out by the water right behind him. Everybody was surfing the MTA. Are you kidding me? Wednesday night's downpours took out a temporary wall at the Court Square 23rd Street substation stop in Long Island City, flooding the platform and knocking a man off his feet and nearly onto the tracks as a train entered the station. And so this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was up to your shins, said Luke Power, a Manhattan man who was witnessing the deluge and helped the unidentified flood victim. And there's video for you guys to check out there as well. And over here we see power outages continue after explosion and fire at Madison, Wisconsin substation. We've been talking about all these strange explosions, the grid going down, and it'll go down sporadically in more and more places. Lots of outages were reported, fires as well. And so MGNE says it has now begun the process of restoring power to thousands affected by the outages. Crews are working as quickly as possible to get everybody back online. 2 fires at MGNE/ATC substations Friday morning. So this is getting to be a very common occurrence. And over here we see a pickup truck blows up in a massive explosion, killing a Pennsylvania man. I have to share that we were on the road in the desert, and about 2.5 weeks ago went by a gas station, and it was operating normally. And then on the return trip, a couple hours later, go by the gas station, and it's gone. It was blown up, and not sure what happened to it, if it was just a fire that got out of control and ignited some things. But it was curious. And then 2 days ago, making a trip down the same road, we went by a car that was on fire. It was just about out, and all the tires had blown. There was nothing left of the tires. The gas tank had exploded. It didn't hit anything. That's the thing. It didn't hit anything. So it was really curious as to what caused that. So are you guys seeing things like this too? Are you seeing anything unusual in your area? Have you gone by any cars that are just sort of sitting there and you don't know what caused them to go on fire? I hope the people were okay. It was definitely, if they were in that car when it exploded, there's no way. Perhaps, I don't know what it could have been. Honestly, it just kind of, I can't figure out what could have caused that. But you never know. 6 injured after huge gas explosion destroys New Zealand home. Lots of these. It was felt for miles, this explosion. And this is the first time I've seen this on this side. Flesh-eating bacteria ravages California woman's left foot, exposing bone. She doesn't know what could have caused it. She was not in any water. She doesn't know what could have caused it. It just hit her out of the blue, and it's a scary situation. This is getting to be way too common. So Elon Musk is making implants to link your brain with a smartphone and to read your mind. After electric vehicles and rockets, now Elon Musk wants to read your mind and insert Bluetooth-enabled implants into your brain to enable telepathy and repair motor function in people with injuries. How do you feel about that, guys? What's your thoughts on that one? We were talking about an alligator up in Chicago, right? An alligator that was up in Chicago, and here you have a large caiman spotted in a Swiss lake. What's it doing swimming in a lake in Switzerland? Very curious. The climate's changing. Do they know something we don't? 8 spots in the U.S. where you can see petroglyphs. Have you guys ever seen petroglyphs? I've been lucky enough to see them in several different states. Very interesting to look at. This is Spanish Ship, East County, San Diego. And this is Petroglyph Beach State Historic Park, Wrangell, Alaska. Dighton Rock State Park, Berkeley, Massachusetts. And this is up in Michigan. Judaculla Rock, Cullowhee, North Carolina. I did a video there showing that rock. Reef Bay Trail, U.S. Virgin Islands. And this is in Wisconsin. And up in Minnesota. So we see these things all around the globe, and we have to think about, exactly what the true history is that has been hidden from us. So first 10 things to do after the bleep hits the fan. And so the fan has been hit with the bleep. What do we do? Well, number 1, according to Urban Survival, establish communication with your family. Yes, we could agree on that, I think. Assess the situation. Then get home or to your bug out location. Secure your location. And then basically observe OPSEC, or operating security. Blend in as much as possible. Don't stick out. Gather as much intel as possible. Avoid large crowds. Focus on bugging in for 2 to 4 weeks and decide the next steps. And there is a video, and of course I'll have the links for you guys here. They'll go into more detail. And so it's a mystery why we are not constantly hallucinating, a trippy new study suggests. So basically, they were doing an experiment on mice brains, and they just simply shined a laser on it to trigger hallucinations. So light can trigger hallucinations. Well, are they really hallucinations? That gets into something else. Just like when people are on a trip, so to speak, whatever it is, like here in Nevada, marijuana is legal, as well as California and many other states. So what really happens? Is that all an illusion, or are we actually seeing things that are really there all the time? Perhaps we're seeing into other dimensions. Perhaps that's why it was illegal in the first place. Perhaps it opens up your chakras. Perhaps it's opening up your crown chakra, which allows you to connect to other dimensions. So in this study, basically a human brain has many, many times more neurons than the brain of a mouse. And so the question is, why aren't we tripping out all the time? And what really does happen when we do trip? What are we actually experiencing and seeing? And as I've told so many people before, consistent meditation can give you just as big a trip as anything that you could take. And the thing that's nice is you could control it instead of being, at the mercy of whatever the substance is. So my suggestion would be to meditate and to learn how to go deep in meditation and learn different types of meditation, because there's many different types as well. And meditation will do wonderful things, not just for your mind, but also for your body. And as we've said before, it'll get you out of the fight or flight situation where your body's producing cortisol and switch you into the rest and digest side of the parasympathetic nervous system, where you're basically producing serotonin and melatonin, which are feel-good chemicals. And, this is such a huge benefit for us, especially in these times, because we obviously need to ground, to root, to allow ourselves time to decompress in this stress-filled world that we are in, especially when we see the way the headlines are so often. And also when we take into the fact that we are experiencing increased cosmic rays that is changing our consciousness, changing our DNA. It's part of what is known as the Ascension process. And so a lot of times people always want to take the easy way out, take a pill, take a hit off of whatever it is you're taking a hit off of. But in these times, you will progress faster than ever if you do adopt a meditative practice, a practice such as QiGong, yoga, Tai Chi, things like this, which don't have any harmful side effects at all. How many times have we listened to the newest pharmaceutical and, it might help your skin rash, but it might cause cancer or dementia? What good is that? Why not learn to go within? Learn meditation, qigong, tai chi, yoga, these type of disciplines that have nothing but positive benefits for us with no negative side effects. It just seems like it's a win-win situation to me. So my friends, as always, like, share, subscribe, click the bell, get all the notifications, leave your comments, let us know what you're thinking. Thank you so much for your support at Ko-Fi and Patreon and keeping the channel going, especially when we're trying to talk about good, positive, healthy things such as these practices, and those automatically get demonetized. It's just like if you're talking about alternative health and how you could improve yourself without having to basically sell away your soul or give tons of money away to the pharmaceutical companies and experience all those lovely side effects, then it's something that obviously the powers that be don't want discussed. Because, again, it's a money thing, it's a control thing. It's just the way the world is, so we have to wake up as many people as possible. And so share, my friends. As always, God bless, stay safe, namaste.